G'day jabronis, it is the Verd back with you again. Welcome here to our week 1 team builder for Best Never Rest. Your Tampa Bay Frogadiers are up against the Connecticut Cobalions, coached by II. I have played II once before. It was for this little league that we had, which was, I don't know if we have, but it was called the EBT. It was like this little draft tool that Gypsy talked me into hopping into if need be. It was pretty fun. I kind of didn't draft my team though. I was a replacement coach. Didn't really make any changes. I was like, stuff it, this team's fine. But yeah, it wasn't really my style. I think I lost 1-0 to him in the game, but it's a very good game though. Very enjoyable. But yeah, this matchup's going to be interesting. I think this time around, because I have drafted a team that I'm quite happy with, I feel pretty confident that I can, put in a better effort than I did last time around. And if last time around it was a really close game, I'm hoping that means that this could lead to a win. We will see though. He has a very, very scary team, and I've tried my best to prepare for it accordingly. So yeah, if you guys are hyped for this game, like the video, all that good stuff. But we are gonna jump right into this bad boy. So first and foremost, I decided to go with Volcarona. I think Volk has a really good matchup here because if he doesn't bring Scarf Teraki on, it's just really, really good. I was contemplating bringing Chardy Berry, but even with the Chardy, I get absolutely destroyed by Tarak. So it wasn't worth bringing it that way. I was contemplating Sash again because I brought Sash Volcarona in the past and I could lead with it, and then it becomes a huge threat if it's not dealt with. But decided against that too. I liked Farium because with his team, like his 3 resists to Volcarona are pretty much like Zygarde, Dharm, and Tarak, which are all great offensive checks, but they're not obviously wanting to take the hit. And the big thing as well about Volk is that it outspeeds 2 of those, especially after a Quiver. And Z-Fire can do a ton. Basically, after Rocks will Oko Dharm. It does a ton to Tarak, but Tarak just gets knocked out by Psychic, and then I've got the HP Ice there for the Zygarde. The Z-Fire move is actually kind of there for Palisand. Palisand's kind of an annoying mon for me to deal with, funnily enough. You wouldn't think so, but it surprisingly is. And so I kind of wanted to deal with that accordingly. And the idea of this Volcarona is basically when Palisand comes in, because it's going to spin block my drill, I go hard into Volcarona on the Rocks play, and then proceed to Quiver Dance up, because at that point, he's either aggressively going to switch out, like to deal with it, or he's just going to try and stay in. And so there is the opportunity there just to fire him Z potentially, but I've got to be careful, because Palisand could also just go for Shore Up, and if I have the Sand Up with my Hippo, then my attack's going to be wasted. So that's why I'm thinking like Quiver Dance in that turn could be huge, because then even if he shores up, even if he's at full health, +1, fire him, just Oko's Palisand. So it's pretty good there. The small statistics that I guess in Volcarona, so the only real big ones that matter is the speed. It's enough speed to creep Darmanitan. II doesn't have any base 100 mons. It creeps Darmanitan and it creeps Zygarde, so at +1 I can outspeed both, or if they're not Scarfed, I can obviously outspeed them and potentially revenge them. Flame Body's super cool here as well for Zygarde, because obviously if he tries to E-speed on a certain thing, I could potentially go hard Volk and try and catch him with the Flame Body, which would be pretty nice, but I don't see myself struggling too much with Zygarde in this matchup, hopefully. I've got pretty good ways around it. But yeah, so, and then the 24 in Spadef is actually, it's a bit of a weird one, but the 24 in Spadef ensures that my Volcarona can take a Timid, Life Orb, Rabombi's Hidden Power Rock, if it needs to. It actually 100% of the time lives that, so that's pretty important. And then the defensive investment's just kind of there. I had some spare EVs, so I decided to chuck it into defense. I felt like that was the best place to put it. But yeah, Volcarona, early game is very, very good here. Kind of clears a path for a lot of other members on my team. Next up we have a really cool little Latios set. I was very much tossing and turning about my Latios set in this matchup, because I honestly still am. There's a good chance this set won't actually make it into the final team, because this is the one set that I'm kind of tossing and turning on. What I really liked about it though was the fact that it can just set up against everything. If he's not running raw on Empoleon, then this thing just puts in a ton of work and it's amazing. I can just sub Roost up if I need to, Carmine up, it's just super good. It's nice against the Zam as well, putting pressure on there, and then Store Power just does a ton. But realistically guys, this is not going to be the best set for Latios in this matchup, and I know it. I know it's not. It's a cool pipe dream, but realistically it's not. We need Roost, 100% we do. Of course we do. This should most likely be Psyshock. That deals with Rack and does everything else. We want Thunderbolt, and we want probably Dragon Pulse. Could actually make it Draco as well. I was tempted actually by something like, check Thunderbolt down here. Something like Carmine, Roost, Draco, Meteor, Thunderbolt. This Draco is just super nice, and then obviously 252 in there, and then 80 in the HP. That set is more likely what I'm going to bring, because if Empo is the switch in, I just want to weaken Empo regardless, because I have a Jirachi in the back. So if I'm able to bring this again, and I can just like Carmine up and then drop a T-Bolt, that's pretty nice. Carmining up also means I can take a hit from Zam, and then drop a Draco, which basically just destroys Zam, so that's also really nice. And because of the Carmines, then the Draco isn't as negative. I could still, you know, have a decent amount of bulk. So I'd be able to like Draco one thing and then Draco like a Zygarde afterwards, if need be, and do some damage, and Thunderbolt's literally just there to catch Empoleon. So yeah, this is looking more like the Latios set that I'll probably end up bringing. I think it's just super solid here. But moving on, we have the first of the defensive mons, which is a Fizdef Tangela, which funnily enough is like the optimal Zygarde check. Oh, I just remembered. I just remembered that he has a Roserade. And I'm questioning whether I want to run Psyshock or not. I feel like I need Psyshock. Carmine's really nice. But I do have those guys to do other stuff, so I'm going to chuck on Psyshock. Do I want Draco? I think I just want Dragon Pulse. I don't even need Dragon Pulse, actually. I just run Ice Beam. Maybe do that. Ice Beam covers Zygarde as well as Roserade. So yeah, Bolt Beam should be pretty nice here. We're going to stick with that, I think. That's solid. I like that a lot. Sorry. Anyway, I'm just remembering like parts of his team that I'd maybe forgotten, because it's been a while since I actually built this team, and then we're going to battle. So yeah, it is what it is. But Tangela is a really solid one here. Fizdef, because it is my primary check to things like the Zygarde and the Terrakion. It can actually, funnily enough, take a +2 Terrakion Continental Crush or Pummeling, I guess is a stronger one. It can take that if need be. I was initially running Synthesis, then realised it was horrible when paired with Sand, so it's just 4 attacks. It's basically like a Tangrowth with an Assault Vest, but in this sense, I have an Eviolite instead, which is even better, because it means that Tangle is hitting 540 defense, which is insane. So yeah, Sludge Bomb is there because what the hell is the Fairy type on his team? It's the only reason it's there, because he has a Roserade. Shit. Did I actually forget? One sec. Alright, sorry about that. Turns out I mixed up my teams, and he has Shaman plus Roselia instead of Roserade, so that means that I'm going to put Draco back on Latios, because Roselia is not a threat. It's just not, but Tangela, reason Sludge Bomb is for that Shaman, to be able to wear that thing down. I have Grass Knot, which is a bit of a surprising tech, I suppose. People expect normally, it's something you wouldn't expect on like a Tangrowth because it's so fat, but because Tangle is so small, you can actually take advantage of this. So Grass Knot Oko's Terrakion, it almost Oko's max HP Palisand. It's just doing a ton of damage to a lot of his mons. hits Empo for a good amount of damage, because Empo is heavy because of being steel type. So it's really like, it's a surprise factor too. He may like have designed some things to take Giga Drains, but just didn't factor in Grass Knot. It's a really good way to knock things out. Knockoff is there for things like if Roselia wants to come in, or say Darmanitan wants to come in, and I can just knock off their item. That's really, really nice. Especially like Roselia getting rid of Eeviola is super duper good for pressure purposes, obviously. And HP Ice is there for the Zygarde. I was doing a mock, and I thought Grass Knot would be enough for Zygarde, but it's only doing like 30 to 35, whereas HP Ice is doing upwards of like 60 to 65, and that's really important in some games, especially with the way I want to play around Zygarde. That's super important. But yeah, Tangela takes on Zygarde pretty easily, even with Z moves. Zygarde's going to need to set up a lot if it's going to break through Tangela. So the big fear with Tangela, obviously, is getting poisoned. So I kind of try and, with my 2 steel types, I try and play around that. But yeah, speaking of, I'll get to the 2 steel types at the end. We've got a little Hippo here. So Hippo went through a little bit of a change after the mock. So basically I initially had, I think it was Stone Edge or Rock Slide on there, because Hippo was a really solid lead, and with the Rock Slide or the Stone Edge, if he led with Rabombi, I could obviously Stone Edge, bring it down to a potential Sash, and then Sandstorm would kill it, and I was like, cool, that's a really easy way to get rid of Rabombi. But then I thought there's no real reason for him to keep Rabombi in then if there's a chance it's going to die and it can't kill Hippo. So kind of decided against that idea in general. But Toxic was really good because I found that Palisand wants to come in against Hippowdon, so like, I can go for my rocks and then I can Toxic the Palisand, and then it becomes really good because if the Palisand's poisoned and then I go into my Volcarona, it's really good pressure. It forces a lot of plays from him, which is super good. I got enough bulk to take on things like Tarak and Darm. Basically, mainly if I can take Terrakion and Darm with Hippo, then it leaves Tangela to really deal with that Zygarde like it needs to, but it can also deal with Tarak, so both of them kind of share the Tarak deal. Hippo's more taking on Darmanitan, but pretty straightforward moveset. Obviously isn't super great against things like, say, Shaman, or even Rabombi to an extent, but that's fine because I have other ways to pressure Rabombi. Like with these 2 here, I can pressure Rabombi a lot, but Smooth Rock to set up as much sand as possible for Drill to prosper, and then a little bit of Spadef investment allows me to take, I can't remember exactly what it was, I think it was an Energy Ball from Xurkitree, or something like that. Yeah, but Hippo is pretty straightforward. It just forms a nice defensive core with the Tangela, really. That's just the kind of premise of both of those together. And I guess Latios kind of is in the defensive core. I don't really know. It's not really that bulky. It's, yeah, kind of aggressive. But anyway, moving on to the big 2. So obviously, Scarfarachi is just great here. The Empo is annoying, but like I said, because of the Latios set that I'm bringing, it kind of baits in the Empo, and I can just get off a shit ton of damage to the point where Empo then can't also deal with Rachi, and Rachi in this game, once Empoleon's kind of out of it, is quite free to spam either Iron Head or Zen Headbutt, because there are some situations where Zen Headbutt is better. Don't you worry. I've looked into those. The big thing about I's team too is there's no Dark type, which is why I brought the Stored Power Lati in the first place. But obviously Scarfarachi is really nice because it does outspeed Megazam. I'm running max speed because of the off chance for some reason he runs a Scarf Shaman with max speed. I know it's crazy, but I is a, out of the box thinker like myself, so I've got to be prepared for anything. Main premise of Rachi early doors is probably just going to be U-turning. There could also be times where I just want to threaten out something that's really becoming a bit of a problem. Say, for instance, like a Zygarde, if for some reason Tangela's died, if Hippo's been able to Toxic the Zygarde like I expect it to if it comes in against it, then Jirachi can do a bit of Iron Head spam against it if I need to try and get those flinches. It is in my favour to flinch, so it's worth the risk. But I can also just come in and pivot around certain things, like Zam coming in against Hippo. I can just double into Jirachi if I need to, and then U-turn and either chunk the Zam massively on my way out, or, potentially he just swaps out to something else and I get the momentum back. Healing Wish is there because there were some situations where, being able to Healing Wish Rachi and bring back up Tangela is amazing in the late game. If like Terrakion and Zygarde are the only 2 things left, and I'm able to, use Rachi to Healing Wish up into Tangela. That's a like so because if Tangela gets poison too, it's just so good. Tangela is incredibly good in this matchup, and I want to preserve it for as long as possible because it can easily beat Tarak plus Zygarde by itself. It's insane. It's actually insane what it can do. But yeah, pretty straightforward Rachi, and then we come to the glorious set. So I initially obviously did have Sandrush Drill, but then I realized the problem with Sandrush Drill in this matchup, which was obviously a Pokemon called what's it? Oh, my dog just got very aggressive then. Clearly was not happy with what I was saying. But it was with Zam, because obviously Zam has access to Trace, so it could just trace my Sandrush and would be faster than me, and I wasn't okay with that. So I decided to go with a very interesting drill set, which is Scarfed with Sand Force. The whole premise around this is for Drill to still outspeed things on my opponent's team, especially Zam. This is designed to outspeed, I believe this outspeeds any Zam form, because it's 146. Yeah, this is designed to outspeed Tim and Zam as well. And the whole premise kind of though is that like Drill comes in, and because of Sand Force, it bluffs a potential like boosting item of some sort, like E-Belt or whatever, if it kills something. And I'm hoping what it then does is it puts into the mind of either like, oh, this is Sandrush Drill, I could just go into my Zam offensively and stop it, and that's when I could obviously catch him. With the fact that I'm Sand Forced, he's just wasted to switch in. And there's also the fact that like Zam can come in not Mega Evolved and assume that I'm Sandrush, but then Mega Evolve, see that I'm Sand Force, and then Iron Head pretty much just Okos. So that's pretty nice. I was contemplating running Shadow Claw on this Drill because of the fact that that would probably be my best way to hit Palisand. However, you got to remember that Shadow Claw isn't boosted by Sand Force, so it's doing base 140 to a Palisand, whereas Iron Head, just with stab alone, is doing 120, not to mention that it's getting a 30% increase from the Sand Force, so it's actually ending up doing more than Shadow Claw would. That's why I'm rocking the Rock Slide. I don't know if I'll actually use it. It's kind of nice in some situations to click Rock Slide, like, you know, against potential like Darm. It could be nice, like over Earthquake, because it's predicting turns in advance. Like if you know you can just lock yourself in a Rock Slide and it's going to kill the last few things on the team instead of like having to switch out in between moves, that's pretty nice. Not to mention, Rock Slide again is boosted by Sand Force. If you guys aren't actually sure about Sand Force, because it is a ability that is a bit different. So the Pokemon's Rock, Ground, and Steel type attacks do 1.3 times. So basically it gives you a Life Orb boost in Sandstorm, is what Sand Force does. So yeah, Scarf to outspeed Mega Zam, and then the rest in just regular investment. But yeah, basically, like I said, the big play is trying to just kill something with Drill and bait in the Alakazam to pretty much just die. Hopefully. That is the plan. But yeah, this is the team. It's pretty straightforward, I think. Just Hippo and Tangle are very defensive. Two good offensive breakers in Volk plus Latios, and then two potential cleaners, and Drill obviously just like spamming strong attacks, and Rachi just flinching out everything. So yeah, pretty happy with this team. Like obviously he has a super threatening team. I'm not going to go into too much depth about exactly what I think he's going to bring or anything, but I think he's just, I don't really know how he's going to play it. I know that he loves his Empoleon, so I'm hoping that my Latios set can kind of blow that away, or potentially if he tries to bring in Empo as the Volk check, I could just Farium Z it away. So yeah, I think that I've got a very good chance of potentially pulling out the W in this game. I feel like the team is super solid. So yeah, we'll see how it goes, but yeah, feeling good. Anyway, that's going to do it for me, guys. Hope you have enjoyed this video. If you have, liked the video. Don't forget also to subscribe if you are new around here. This is going to be a really awesome game. I'm very excited for this. This league is going to be very, very exciting. There's so many good coaches. So realistically, I'm just looking to put in the best effort that I can and see how much I've grown, I guess, as a player. But yeah, that's going to do it for me. My name's The Bird. I'm out.